Yeah, everybody, we're back. More Lunar Silver Star Story complete. Let's just jump straight into this and continue. We were heading back to Berg to revisit the White Dragon Quark. Alongside one of the four heroes, Galleon. Oh, there you are, Galleon. Yep, guess so. Hoping traveling to Berg with one of the four heroes will make the travel like a lot easier, and they doesn't just leave us again. It's like we're going back there specifically for him. Galleon, why is it you're always coming across as evil or stupid? Yeah, we are getting ahead of ourselves because you can't answer a question like that until you're put into that position. The idea that we come from a backwater little town like Berg and Lunar's singing is so good that its reputation is basically spread worldwide is kind of crazy. Really weird that we didn't bring Ramus with us. Yeah, so what are the chances that Galleon's going to turn out to just generally be evil? Yeah. Thank you, Captain. Thank you. It's actually a fair point. During the trip would have been the best time to attack if you wanted to get rid of Galleon. Because you don't have to target him, you just have to target the ship. One more hair to your head. Not a cat person. Nice to be appreciated by somebody. At some point I'd like to get a look at like a proper map of this area. Or just this world. It'd be nice. Oh, Galleon is in our party and he's level 99. That's not much health for level 99. And he's only got 4 spells. Look, they all attack everybody. Any equipment? Can't even look at his equipment. Well, it should make going back through this area a lot easier. Though, in all honesty, we shouldn't have any trouble with that anyway. The current level we're at compared to where we were before. Well, I think they're dead. Old air attack. Not particularly high MP costs either. For what they are. Tornado attack. Interesting that it moves them. Like, actually moves all of them. I don't think I've seen a spell do that yet. I don't remember the way out of this place. And rock and roll. Earthquake attack. No, given his level and the extravagance of the animations there, these spells don't feel as powerful as I would have expected. The real value of them is just that they target everybody. They target everybody and they do enough. Okay. What is that? Gain a level while Galleon's in the party? No, I don't remember the way out. I do wish I had a map. Oh, there we go. And there's Berg. Pretty sure that's Ramus's father. Oh, no, it's not. Right, alright. Weird thing to say. Was this Ramus's house? Yes, it is. Yep, just kind of a dick. Through and through. Hello, Papa. Hello, chicken. The kid's been missing since he left the village with you. How is that missing? You know he left the village with me. How is that missing? Yay, full heal. Hello. You have new goods? No. Hey, Amanda. Buy a lot of these. That should be enough. If we can find someone that sells the magic crystals cheap. Yeah, I'm doing my best. How you getting on? Yep, Galleon is either just evil, stupid, or a major dick. Possibly all three. An enormous feathered marshmallow. Yeah, you get him now. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't call the last one joyful. Everybody in line. How to play my ocarina. Magic Emperor Galleon. What? Is the Magic Emperor supposed to be part of the Vile tribe? Any good weapons? No. Alright. Hello, cow. Father, I'm home. That's the nicest thing he's said since we've met him. Weird. And this is my basement. Alright, let's go see Dine's Memorial. You probably want to see that before we go. Yeah, it sounds like something somebody who's evil would say. Alright, let's get out of here. Alright, let's go around to Quark's cave. Save out here just in case of anything. I've been forgetful about saving in this game generally, but saving on the world map is always something I can remember, because it's something basically every RPG does. It's like, oh yeah, these RPGs have save points, but you can save anywhere on the world map. And it's like, alright, then I will save on the world map before I go into any dungeon. Smart thing to do. South. South is a quicker way. There was a shortcut I opened, I remember that one. Tornado attack. Oh, I should do that. I'm gonna forget. Completely forget about that. America still needs your help. I wonder if anybody else remembers Captain America and the Avengers. I had that on Super Nintendo, and I found out years later that it's like the worst version. Because it, like, one of the main things is the Super Nintendo version specifically gives the enemies way more iframes. So, like, they get more iframes than you do, which is ridiculous. Never finished that game. That would actually have been my introduction to, like, a bunch of Avengers stuff. Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Vision. I think the Wasp was in it. Not a particularly great beat 'em up, but, like, there's worse. I wonder if it was 4-player in the arcade. I don't think it was. I think it was only 2-player. Those 2-player arcade beat 'em ups, though, could be a good time. Excuse me, sir. Might be worth making a list of, like, all the Super Nintendo games I had when I was a kid, and just do, like, a nostalgia marathon. And let's only play these games I had as a kid. The issue with that is I've done a bunch of them already. Super Mario World, Super Mario All-Stars, Super Castlevania 4, A Link to the Past. And it's like, those are the big ones I remember. Like, what else was the Super Mario Kart? Alien 3? America and the Avengers? Oh, we're here. Hey, Quark. Yeah, that's an evil laugh.
Oh, then the time has finally come. My coming out party can begin. Send in the clowns.
Hi, Althena. What have you done, Galleon?
Not Galleon, dear Quark. Magic Emperor Galleon.
Magic Emperor?
Galleon, no!
Oh, no. Galleon, yes! Someday people may mourn this day, but my glorious rule can only begin with your enslavement. Quark shall be the cornerstone of a new order. My world order. But who shall be my queen?
Wow, I can't believe Galleon was evil all along. Who could have seen that coming? Weird that one person in the village called him Magic Emperor Galleon, though. I don't know what that was about. Like, there's no way they should have known about this. Hmm. Off shell. Oh. The Magic Emperor. Cool, who got us out of the cave? Ah, like it. Oh, we gotta go after Galleon, but the question is, like, where do we even begin? Cool, not helpful. You know, I was kind of hoping you were coming over to give me, like, a secret weapon that you had all these years that was a really good sword. Yeah, why were you in the White Dragon Cave? Is there a good reason not to tell us? Anyway. Right, Gallium right in the dick. Well, I'm gonna bite Gallium right in the dick. Yeah, what's with that term? The Vile Tribe were talking about it earlier. No, I don't. He was killed by love? Yeah, cool. Do you know where any of the other dragons are? Okay. Maybe he's just a good man now. Right. Let's give him a whirl. Aw, sweet. Teleportation, yeah. I'm happy about this. Mel is probably the person to talk to. And Galleon knew that. There's one of the four heroes, and the only one left still able to fight. Mel would obviously be the first target that Galleon would want to take out. Wouldn't be a bad idea to see if we can get Ramus back in the party right now. Oh, it's good that you caught on way after I did. Alright. Oh, great, they can teleport. Jeez. You guys done? Oh, this is blurry. See if that's any better. Anyway, to Ramus. No. Focus attacks on one until one's dead. Reduce number of attacks we have to deal with from the other. You could definitely do with another party member. Everything seems okay in here. Ramus. Okay, do you want to come and help at all? Or do you want to sell me armor? Nope, nothing new. Also, you should really give me a discount on those magic spheres. Alright. Get to Mel's mansion. That's a lot. That's a lot of MP. That's more MP than I have at max. Jeez. Alright. Bonk. Glad these guys do so little damage. Free heal. Especially foolish daughters. Alright, let's go. What the hell is that? Bonk. How dare you, sir? Alright, so let's clear the path to Mel's mansion, and we'll run back to the Statue of Althea, and then go into Mel's mansion. Red crates. Oh, I know what I'm supposed to be doing with this now. The stupid mechanic that was in the first dungeon. Not a good mechanic. Ba-da-ba-da-boom. You know what might be a good idea is going back to Vane. See if we can get Nash back in the party real quick. Alright. Maybe if I'd gone to Vane first. Guess we're doing this with two people. Oh, you guys seem to be okay. Then why you guys just stood here then? Leader of the Vile Tribe, but shit, you mean Zenobia? Why are you guys all here? Right, actual explanation, that's better. There she is. Don't get distracted now. Oh. I was really hoping she'd tell me, if only just to taunt me. Hmm. Alright. It's a vein. Yeah, hopefully Lamia's recovered enough that we can take Nash and Mia with us. Then that'd make us the new 4 heroes. Mel's daughter, Lamia's daughter, Galleon's disciple, and the new Dragon Master. And we're off. The real concern we have now, though, with Mel gone, Lamia likely still recovering, none of the 4 heroes are left standing. The biggest threat to Galleon would be the 4 dragons. He's already taken 1. If he knows where the other 3 are... likely you could slave them the same way he did Quark. Which then creates the problem of we won't be able to become the Dragon Master. Oh, that was nice. Alright, Ramus, you want to come with? Thanks, Ramus. Oh, I'm not walking a vein. Actually, that's a fair point right now. I haven't had Jessica in my party when I've been able to go to a shop. Yeah, it's a big monster. Up, bitches. Really hoping I'll be able to just like wander off to the shop real quick. Alright, what do you get? Jessica, you just bonk it.
Special delivery.
Gonna boost my power. That is nasty. Jessica and Jessica, heal yourself.
Check this out.
Althena, lend me your power!
Yeah, boy. Even with the defense boost, that was quite a lot.
Special delivery.
Althena, lend me your power!
Alright. See what we can get out of this.
Summon elemental power!
Not much. Or if it's just able to resist magic.
Althena, lend me your power!
Check this out.
Althena, lend me your power!
Oh, Luna had the healing ring. Well, that's not good.
this out.
Summon elemental power.
I think I left some of those on Nash.
By the power of Althena.
Yeah, that's great, actually. Do more of that. Nash doesn't have a weapon on him. And neither does Mia. We never got to put them back on after climbing the tower. That's not good.
Check this out.
That's actually kind of frustrating.
Summon elemental power.
Now, is there any chance you could get Jessica back up?
Check this out.
This could get nasty.
Summon elemental power.
This could get really nasty. I can't do this every turn. Ugh. Odds was stacked against me there. Nash, eat a dick. No, he was always weird and evil looking, and sounding, and talking. Well, then around here ain't gonna help anything. I did. They had nothing to contribute. Can we save Lemire if we kill Galleon? I feel like that's not thoroughly established. Are we doing this? Ash is right there. Why don't you just ask her while we're here? Cool. Do you have any idea what the other three dragons are? South of Nanza. Alright, let's bounce. And definitely make sure to equip Ash and Mia. There we go. And visit the statue for the healing. Yay. That's what happened to the singer in Lan. Arabia. We visited both of them with Nash in the party. He would have reported them to Royce or Galleon. Alright, let's see if we can get anything with Jessica. Nope, not really. Nope. Alright. Guess it's time to just travel to Nunza then. Although... yeah, that seems reasonable. Anza. Alright, let's go.
Oh, hell! Help me! Get away from me, you dastardly fiends! You'll regret this!
What are you doing here? Quick, Jessica. Get her now.
Oh, pardon my heels. What's the world coming to when a decent lady has to be so vulgar to protect herself? And now let's end this cheap charade.
Oh, what the hell are you doing?
You and your boys need to learn some manners, sweet cheeks.
Why are you dressed as a woman? Nice. I'm still caught up on why Kyle was dressed as a woman. We're gonna get any kind of explanation for why he was dressed as a woman. Well, we've actually got 5 party members. Cool. Maybe there's somebody in the camp who can tell me why he was dressed as a woman. I feel like it probably is work. Jailbait. Jerry Lee. You know, that's a pop culture reference I just don't get. Only I had somebody in the audience who was alive during the 90s in America to explain it to me. How did it protect Nanza? Like, if it's your thing, fine, fair enough, I've not got a problem with that. But nothing has previously suggested that it is. You were just dressed as a woman when monsters attacked. Rated E for everyone. Okay. Singing princess. A petite slab of sugar. Just like the kind of thing you will only call your best gal. But now that we've got Kyle in the party and he is a thief, we'll be able to open those locked chests. Kyle, what's going on with you, man? You know, I'm pretty sure there's fish anywhere. There's a port town. Oh. Demon, Guardian of Knowledge. You might know where the dragons are then. Worth keeping in mind. At the top of a tower. Well, I feel like we didn't gain any more information about why Kyle was wearing a dress. Alright, save it and then we'll dive straight in. Fresh drink though. Alright. Hello. Hey, how you doing, Squall? Ah, sweet. 5 people in the party. Bonk 'em all. Oh, sweet. Kyle gets 2 turns as well. Nope, Kyle never leaves my party now. The plot? You mean the obvious plot twist that Galleon was so obviously evil? I'm doing okay. Doing okay. I'm glad to be playing more Lunar. Volcano on the west side. A lot of people on this trail. Just have 5 players. It is really nice. Like, it's been rare for us to have 4 people in the party so far, and now here we are with 5. Like, oof. It's beautiful. Love it. Oh, Kyle or Jessica beat the shit out of Nash. No, it doesn't ring a bell. O-Town. No. Cool. The voice acting in this so far has been pretty enjoyable. Very nostalgic in the way that anime in the 90s tended to be dubbed. Really nice. I'll crack your kneecaps. Rip your fucking legs off. A place like this probably doesn't have shops. There's a shop. Directly south Illock. Hmm. Low overhead equals high profits. Something that the gaming industry could do to remember. Let me just buy a couple of these. Got a bad idea. Yeah, it's just there's a ladder up to the shelf for some reason. And this town was built to be confusing. And it's like, cool. Lady, I've played Final Fantasy IV. I know confusing designs. Learn much. Remember, kids, learn much. Okay, is there any good reason we've stopped here? Actually, a good point. Could be a good way of gaining information. That man just mugged my cat. Cool, but you know what the fun thing is about being an adventurer? Is that I can kill you all. Alright, anything good? Yeah, I'm quite enjoying this, and I look forward to eventually getting to Eternal Blue. Alright. Old stuff. I always like buying new weapons. I don't even know what that is. Hello, I'm here to buy weapons. Ooh, a new sword. Orikiri made easy. Good to know, thank you. I feel like I already had a bastard sword and it didn't do as much damage as that. But I might be getting it confused with the broadsword. Hello. I don't know where that is. Rock bottom prices, you say? Does it? Yeah, whining about wuss magicians. Yeah, there he is. Moaning about it again. So joining the guild retroactively means anybody who's ever stolen from you has to give everything they've stolen from you back? Kinda crazy. Well, might as well. Oh, you mean this guy? I didn't realize I was a guy for a minute. I thought it was a decoration. Flying over the mountains. Hmm. I mean, when the town with all the knowledge is also a town full of snobs, you can understand why people outside the town don't tend to know a lot. Hmm. Walk along the coast of the inner sea. Why they're building uphill, look. This place better be crazy. I mean, there are good people who do bad things. Just kind of an inevitability of life. Probably not anything worth saying about that. I think that's the entire town. There's the mountains. A volcano. What's this place? Yeah, sure. Okay. I didn't realise I'd be expected to bring my own soap. Weird that they don't at least sell soap. Hmm. Hello. Rain liquor. That's what they're called, but what? They're all teeth and no tongue. Whack. Yep. I think I like having Kyle in my party. Hmm. Yeah, these things are nasty. Sting attack does a lot of damage. That's good to know, actually. Nash got experience for that, even though he was down. Which removes my biggest concern with any RPG. That if a battle ends while a character's on the ground, they won't get any experience from it. Which, as any veteran of JRPGs knows, will often lead to you just prolonging battles so that you can get everybody back on the feet so everybody can get experience. So watch out for those bees. A Chrono Gorgon. Not today, boys.
Check this out.
Yeah. I should look into who did the voices for Skies of Arcadia. It's all about voice actor for this. I should look at the voice actors for Skies of Arcadia. That could be a fun thing. No, get the ones at the back. Yep, and just
Check this out.
stab Nash. You love me some Skies of Arcadia. Skies of Arcadia being in a worse position than this game. Being that it's a game that you cannot legally purchase in any form or fashion on any modern system. When I say modern system, it's like you can purchase this. Not this version of Lunar. But you can still get the PSP version off PSN to play on PSP and Vita. So it is available in some form or fashion. Which is why it's in a better position than Skies of Arcadia, which is not available in any form or fashion. Maybe one day it will be, though. Maybe one day it will be. A lot of enemies around here. as somebody who generally enjoys playing old games, to the point where I'm only playing PlayStation games for this entire year on stream, like, it is frustrating just how many absolute classics are just not legally available anymore in any reasonable fashion, without you having to fork out a ridiculous amount for a physical copy. And then also need original hardware to play it on because of that. And there was that wonderful little point in history where the PS3 was the big Sony system, and you could play PS1 discs on it. And there was PS1 Classics, which was really nice. And then you had stuff like Konami putting Suikoden 2 on there, which was great because Suikoden 2 has been expensive for a long time. And now, for the most part, that's kind of gone. And now there's some PS1 games available on PS5 and PS4, and the collection that they offer is so much smaller. And some of them are only available if you subscribe to PlayStation Plus's top tier. That's awful. A game like this, like, some people be like, oh yeah, PlayStation games have aged terribly and they all look awful. And it's like, okay, just put that aside for a second. You petty bitch. And like, a game like this, with its sprite animation, its sprite work, its really clean sprite work, would absolutely sell to a crowd today. When you've got stuff like Cosmic Star Heroine and Crosscode. Look how big Undertale was. With pixel art, the graphical quality isn't really a big thing. These are great sprites. These are great sprite art. You could absolutely sell this to a modern audience. It might be a little niche, but you're not building a whole new game, so it's going to cost you less to put together. These are great sprites, Teak, you're right. Welcome in. You know what else had really nice, clean sprites on PS1 that would probably do really well if it was re-released today? Alundra. For fuck's sake, just make these games available. And it brings up the question of, like, I'm glad I'm into emulation. I've been into emulation for as long as I have, to know how to do a lot of this stuff, because, like, you talk to people, you know, people on Twitch who don't really know how to do a lot of the emulation. General Kenobi. How you doing, Lena? Like, you talk to the people who don't really know how to do emulation, and it's kind of crazy. Like, they have no experience with it whatsoever. And it's the disconnect between myself and them, because I've been doing emulation stuff for years. And you think back to, like, even 5 years ago, how less familiar I was with a lot of emulation stuff. I'm also doing the best I can, Lena. And it's all any of us can do. And I'm proud of you for it. Always good to see you, Alien. I always appreciate you popping in.
Summon elemental power.
Could do more what, Teak? It was very insulting of you to suggest so, Teak. Awful. I expected more from you. You get out of it and you go back to playing your Alone in the Dark 3. With your awful life decisions. Decision to play all the Alone in the Dark games. And a madman does that. Year of our Lord 2024, who wants to play Alone in the Dark 3? It's a terrible decision, Teak. Alright, let's say this line of Leonos before it disappears off the visible chat. Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. How was that? Was that good? Good thing I bought so many of these herbs. Holy shit, maybe your least favorite. Yeah, right. Right. I can't believe you decided to play these old DOS-era games without just having a walkthrough open at all times. Welcome on everybody, though. It's good to see you all. Hoping Chance will pop in at some point. It is his day off. We haven't seen Chance this year. I mean, I've seen Chance. I've spoken to Chance. Speak to Chance regular. We haven't seen Chance in the stream this year. So he's not heard his PS1 sound alert. Yeah, like, setting up emulation if you don't know how can be such a pain. And even now, there's points of it that I do know a lot about how to set up emulation, how to get it working and everything. And there's still stuff that's like, why isn't this working? Specifically, PC Engine CD. Why can't I get PC Engine CD emulation to work? I've done it before, why can't I get it to work now? All I want to do is play Rondo of Blood. Literally it. Like, I had Teak on call with me, and we were trying to work out how to get PC Engine CD running, and neither of us could figure out why it wasn't working for me. That's what crazy emulation is sometimes. More obscure systems, yeah. To my mind, it's always CD-based systems. The CD-based systems are always more complicated to set up than... or just disc-based systems, rather. Always more complicated to set up than cartridge-based. Always. And then once you've got them set up, you can start doing the unnecessary stuff that's just kind of neat. Like, last week, I finally just set Dolphin up to open up with the GameCube BIOS opening. Which is good, because, like, I have a lot of nostalgia for GameCube, and I love that GameCube console startup. Well, a lot of people are crazy for the PlayStation startup, and yeah, I get that. I was there. I was there, Gandalf. 3,000 years ago. I needed specific BIOS files, and I only had the US ones. Like, that was it, I only had the US ones. I appreciate your help with that, T, thank you. It was literally just to get the GameCube opening. Absolutely unnecessary, but it's just a nice feature. I have nostalgia for the GameCube one as well. Simpler days. Putting the little mini DVDs into the GameCube, shutting the lid, pressing the button, the power button, sometimes holding the Z button so it would do the different start-up jingle. Simpler days. God, if Nintendo released a GameCube Mini, I would be all over that. I have no actual use for one. Like, I can emulate GameCube absolutely fine. I can emulate GameCube on handhelds now. That's the point we're at. It's not an issue. But if they put out an official GameCube Mini, I would fucking buy it. It'd be so good. Love the GameCube. I don't even know where I'm going. And, like, they could absolutely get some good titles on there. Like, you think of the Nintendo titles they could get on there. There's, like, Metroid Prime, absolutely. Luigi's Mansion. Mario Sunshine, which I don't enjoy, but it should be on there. Wind Waker. I'd prefer Twilight Princess, but if you could only have one of them, more people would want Wind Waker. Mario Kart Double Dash. One of the Mario parties. Some second and third party stuff. Resident Evil Remake from Capcom. Absolutely. RE4, yeah. Definitely do that. Skies of Arcadia from Sega. One of the Sonic games. Super Monkey Ball? Which Sonic game, though? That's the question.
Check this out.
I feel like it'd end up being SA2 Battle. And I don't want that. But Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is a better port than Sonic Adventure DX.
Summon elemental power.
I can't believe Nintendo's not put out more of those mini systems. Like, I get, like, why they wouldn't do a Nintendo 64. Because, like, try and pick out enough games for Nintendo 64 to matter. Like, Nintendo had, what was it, 30 games on the NES Mini, then 21 games on the Super Nintendo Mini, so you'd be expecting at least 20 on the Nintendo 64 Mini. And then, like, try and pick out 20 good games from the Nintendo 64 that they could actually have. And Bane and I have discussed that idea for years. Like, 20 good games that Nintendo would actually be able to put on a Nintendo 64 Mini. and it's such a difficult list. And you end up having to double dip a lot of Nintendo stuff. It's like both Zeldas, Mario Kart 64, Mario 64. If you can't get Banjo-Kazooie, then you'd have to get Donkey Kong 64. The original Smash. The biggest issue with it is, like, the NES and the Super Nintendo Minis were both bolstered by strong third-party support. Like, the NES Mini had, like, Mega Man 2 and 3, Castlevania, the original Final Fantasy, which is a cool thing to have regardless of its actual quality. Oh, here we go. Well, 14 again, yeah. Like, that's the thing with it. And then think of how many actually good third-party games there are on Nintendo 64. There's not a lot. It's like you go back to the Nintendo, the NES, and the Super Nintendo. The three big reliable third parties were Capcom, Konami, and Square. Square completely dropped Nintendo after the Super Nintendo and didn't go back to them until the GameCube. So Square put nothing out on 64. Konami put out 2 Castlevania games and the Goemon games, I think, and I think that was it. Capcom, I don't think Capcom put any original games on there. The only ones I can think of are Mega Man 64, which is a port of Mega Man Legends, and Resident Evil 2. Yeah. Like, Konami at least put original games on there. So, like, growing up, the only working designs localized game I ever really had was Alundra, and Alundra has a really solid script that doesn't do pop culture references too much or, like, real world nonsense a lot. This game has had a lot of that. Dialogue that feels it'd be weird to have in a fantasy game like this from Nash. It's like, oh yeah, no, these guys would nail anything related to them. It's like, oh yeah, the amazing part is these hicks managed to nail anything not related to them because they're all inbred hillbillies. Like, I'm sorry, fucking what? Yes. I don't even have to check that seek. LucasArts would have put more on there. Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Shadows of the Empire, Battle for Naboo, Rogue Squadron. That's 5 games there immediately. Capcom did not have more than 5 games. I like how everybody in the party doesn't like Nash. Well, that happened. Whopping total of 3 games. So, Mega Man 64, RE2. What's the third game? So the third game would be original. Magical Tetris Challenge. Oof. I wasn't aware Capcom ever had the Tetris license. To be fair, now somebody did warn us not to cross it. Yeah, like a Game Boy Mini wouldn't be a bad idea though. But don't do what Sega did with the Game Gear Mini. And I mean that in two ways. One, don't put out 4 different versions of them with 4 games each. And 2, don't actually make it smaller. Like, just... I think do what they did with the Game & Watch things, little Game & Watch ideas. Where it's the same size as the original, or better yet, the same size as the Pocket. There's a Game Boy Pocket. I saw a Game Boy Pocket on display, I think it was last week. And it's like, that is remarkably small. I don't remember it being that small, but it is so small. Basically, no Switch Online. Again, I hate the whole thing of the only option Nintendo gives you for playing old games is a subscription service, and PlayStation's got the same issue now. The reason why I don't have an issue with Game Pass is because you're allowed to buy the games. If Nintendo gave you the option to buy the games that they have on Switch Online, then I wouldn't have an issue with it. Like, have the subscription, and if you're subscribed, get all of them, but also have the option to buy whichever ones you want, so you don't have to keep the subscription up. Wow, those are the cruelest words I've ever seen Mia say. Yeah, there's Kyle. Already drunk. Yeah, like a Game Boy Mini the size of a Game Boy Pocket would, I think, be a really good idea. Reasonable thing with it would be Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, though. Game Boy Advance Mini would be cool. Of course, with the Game Boy Mini as well, like, make it the pocket size, give it the colour screen, and a backlight. Which would cost so little in production these days anyway. And a rechargeable battery. Oh yeah, the tower with the Guardian who's like wise and stuff. We could check the notebook, but no, we'll just steal it instead. Alright. Right. What we should do, though, is I know I saw a weapon and armor shop. Aaron, what do you got? Deflects Darn damage. Okay. Absorbs Noggin Knocks. Alright. Light is alright. For ladies only. The question now is, do I want this armor? No, we'll balance out. Alright. But yeah, stuff like emulation not being as simple as a lot of us really think it is for people who don't know about it is why I appreciate good remasters and re-releases and collections and such. It's why it's disappointing when stuff like the Battlefront Classic Collection comes out and is just kind of overpriced garbage. Which has unfortunately been the case with almost all of these remasters that Aspire's done. I don't recognize what this icon is. $12,000. Jeez. Huh. Ooh, an airship. That's probably how we're going to get to the volcano. Go around. Alright, to the south. Gonna be the other side, isn't it? The other side of south. Alright. Is it not to the other side then? The only thing south of here was the shrine. Good check. Yeah, nothing much, take. Same old, same old. Trying to bash my head into a wall generally. Gotta just get back to generally streaming, keeping up the PlayStation going. Good idea that we've not done enough with, and now we're in mid-March. Huh. Interesting. feel like I need the bridge fixed to actually make progress, and I have no idea how to do it. Fix the goddamn bridge. Ugh. Alright, well, I guess we're just gonna go back. See what we can do. Not going through that forest again, though. That's what was stolen. Teleport stick. Alright. Do I don't know if I have to go back or not. And I don't want to go back through that forest if I don't have to. On your lip. On your lip. How's control going, Seek? I still need to do Alan Wake before I can play control. World building puzzles, environment combat gets Lord. Okay, apparently I need to do something in Iluk. Oh. Actually doing here? Alright, I have to go back through the woods. I do have to go back through the woods. Alright. Alright. As long as I know that won't be a wasted trip. Yeah, I need to do Alan Wake first before I do Control, because I know it has the connections in the DLC, and I need to do Alan Wake generally anyway. As far as I'm aware, Teague, yes. And you can make all the arguments that you can think of, but you need to remember I'm also the guy who said that I want to do Drakengard before Nier, because Nier is somewhat connected to Drakengard's... one of Drakengard's endings. And everybody else is like, it doesn't really matter. I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. That's what we're doing. Apparently, control does also matter for Alan Wake 2.
Check this out.
Summon elemental power.
So something you might have some interest in, Teak. Last week I downloaded Cyberpunk for the Steam Deck, because ever since I started up Cyberpunk the first time and was going through the settings, and saw that there is a Steam Deck preset for the graphics, I was curious to see how it would perform and look on Steam Deck. And so last week I downloaded it onto my Steam Deck. Ooh, ice wall. What does that do? It seemed mostly fine. I've heard that it can drop. I capped it at 30. I've heard that the frame rate can drop into like the mid-20s on the Steam Deck preset. It looked better than I expected, honestly. The only real issue I had with it was that the UI interface was small and very slightly blurry. Like that very slight blur that your eyes are always trying to get into focus, but you can't get into focus because it's not an issue with your eyes, it's an issue with the way that the information is being presented to you. So it strains your eyes very quickly. Apparently the way the interface is probably to do with the super sampling. The FSR, which is on by default. I tried turning it off and that didn't fix it. Gameplay-wise, though, it played pretty fine. Booted up my save. Did, an NCPD alert. Because that's literally, like, the only things that are left in the game for me. And did fine. Jumped around between some cameras, blew some stuff up, shot some people. Same way I would have done on the PC. I think, like, if you're hankering for some Cyberpunk on the go, yeah, it's fine. You'd probably enjoy it. I think the main thing that would inevitably hold it back on Steam Deck isn't performance or visuals or anything, it's going to be the battery life. Because Cyberpunk is going to burn that battery down real quick. So at that point, if you're getting like an hour and a half maybe of battery usage out of it per session before the battery's dead from full, is it really worth playing on the go like that? I don't know. Yeah, ultimately very playable. Fucking obvious. At that point, why not just be playing on the PC? But yeah, it's fine, and like if you wanted, if you hooked it up to the like you plugged it into the Steam dock, the Steam Deck dock, and like had it as a secondary function. Like I've had the idea of like plugging it into the Steam. I've had the idea of plugging the Steam Deck into the dock and having it on a portable monitor just above my bed so I can play games in bed sometimes. And like that feels reasonable. But like outside of that, I can't see a really viable use case for it. For Cyberpunk specifically.
Check this out.
Especially given Cyberpunk's size. Because it is like 90 gig. Is it? How big is it? Let me just boot this.
Summon elemental
Cyberpunk.
power.
84.43 gig. Which, honestly, given how big Cyberpunk is a lot smaller than I would have expected, considering I have other games that aren't as big or in depth or have like had as much time spent in them as Cyberpunk that are way bigger than that. Arkham Knight is way bigger than that. And it's like, oh yeah, no, I've got the expansion pass for Arkham Knight installed. Cool, but I also have Phantom Liberty installed for Cyberpunk. I was looking at fucking one of the fighting games that I've got, thinking about putting on my Steam Deck. Might have been one of the Mortal Kombats. I think it was Mortal Kombat 10. Like Mortal Kombat 9 is Mortal Kombat 9 with all its DLC, the complete edition, 9.25 gig. Mortal Kombat 10 is 77.24 gig. Mortal Kombat 11 is 116.5 gig, and it's like, why is Cyberpunk so much smaller than that? I don't know, because you think the amount of voice dialogue would do a lot of that. And if FMVs are pushing your file size up that much, why aren't you just having them in real time? It's one of those things that you just end up feeling like CD Projekt Red deserves credit for better use of storage space, I think. And it's like, why do I want to download one of these fighting games that's going to take up over 100 gig on my hard drive or my solid state drive? when it's just a fighting game. Yeah. Better optimization of the compression. You actually compress them and optimize that better. I don't know. It's a problem just generally with a lot of modern releases. Of like, we don't need to constrain these releases to discs anymore. It used to be all of this has to fit on the disc. Now it's, we can put whatever we want on the disc. Come on. Oh shit, you're right. Hmm. Try this again. That hasn't fixed it. Of course it hasn't. Alright, so I've messed around a bunch. It doesn't look like it's getting better. The action is just absolute garbage right now all of a sudden. And it's been like 10-15 minutes to try to deal with this, and it ain't happening. Which is always fun. I was ready to go for like another 2 hours with this. So, I guess what we're going to do is finish this fight, and then call it. Save and quit. Currently on 0 bit, right? 0 kbps. Well, that was like something I should probably be on stream for. So we're gonna call it here. Absolute fucking pain in the ass. I want to thank everybody for joining the stream. I always really appreciate the support. Big special thank you to everybody in chat as always, the best part of the stream. Amanda, Squall, Teak, Lino, thank you so much for joining me, keeping company. With any luck, we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with a better bitrate. Playing more of Final Fantasy VII New Threat with Clem. And Lunar will hopefully continue on Tuesday. We'll see about that. Well, in the meantime, thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic time of day. And take care. Catch you next time, guys.